On our first morning in the community, we all gathered with the kids and caretakers after breakfast for morning devotion. We weren't really sure what to expect or how we would be praying. Then, the caretakers started singing a song called Thank You, Lord. The first time I heard it, I didn't really think about what it meant. As the week went on, however, the caretakers sang the song every day. It was on Wednesday that I realized the weight of the song. The song begins with the line, "Thank you, Lord, for watching over us," and ends with, "Thank you, Lord, for one more day." I found these words incredible. These children have nothing. Many of them cannot even move or speak, and yet they continue to be thankful to God. They truly appreciate the gift of life and are thankful that God has taken care of them enough to survive just one more day. I think this gratitude is a virtue that everybody can learn from. I know I have.
As the gates opened to blessed assurance, a feeling of apprehension was my main concern. Then a new day arose, and my emotions had changed for the better. I had found the message that I needed to confirm to myself that it was my duty to come here. I had received a sign from God that I was here for a purpose, and was His plan for me to have this experience. It was through Kevin, our missions coordinator, that I had received God's message. A simple but powerful quote located on the back of Kevin's shirt particularly influenced my previous conceptions of this mission. We are bound together by the tasks that stand before us and the road that lies ahead. We are bound.
Jordan and Maury were sitting in a corner saying hi to the kids around them. There was this one girl who was looking out the window, not speaking at all. They were tapping her on the shoulder, trying to get her attention, but she would not move. So as I was watching, I thought I might give it a try. I went over and I tapped her on the back and said hello. She looked at me and opened her arms out for me to pick her up, and I did. I sat her on my lap and talked to her for a little bit. Even though she did not respond verbally, I could tell she was happy when I saw her smile. It just melted my heart. And that's what my goal was, to make at least one child smile.
On Monday, June 23, 2008, I started the understanding of my mission. I walked into the community center and saw this little boy named Damien. He was all by himself in the corner, helpless, isolated, and surrounded by pillows to keep him from rolling. He was expressionless. He always looked like he was daydreaming, almost like in a trance. I began to rub his back and head, and he slightly grabbed my hand and moved his eyes. Then I fed him and held him. After a while, the best part of the experience came when a smile came to his face. In that moment, I knew in my heart that Damien knew I was there and that I helped him. The lesson I learned is to live life one day at a time and to help as many people as I can, sometimes without receiving anything in return. The joy comes from grieving, and we are blessed if God allows us to receive something back.
On Wednesday night, after coming back from dinner, we all gathered in the girls' dorm like we do every night, but this time for a special prayer service. The prayer service was about hands reaching out to others. Mike began to talk about how him and Mrs. Sims planned the service before we came here last week. He said that things happen for a reason and in funny ways sometimes, because on her own, Anita came up with the idea of taking a picture of everyone's hand with another of a child to put in our journal so we can remember what we have done while we were here, that we made a difference in the child's life by reaching out to them. We all had to read little passages during the service. Mine was from Mark 1:40-41. A leper came to him, begging him, and kneeling he said to him, "If you choose, you can make me clean." Moved with pity, Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, and said to him, "I do choose, be made clean." This reading moved me because as soon as I saw it, I related it to this trip. Like Jesus reached out for the leper when no one else would, we reached out to these children. This past week, we have been able to make them smile and be a friend to them. Like Jesus, by helping the leper, we took a leap of faith by coming down here to help all of these wonderful children.
One girl I met in Jamaica was not only deaf and mute, but she was also unable to walk. Nobody can comprehend the lives of these children. We look upon their lives and bodies, and we feel pity for them. However, they do not need our pity. What the children of Blessed Assurance need is a warm smile, loving touch, and simple song. Monday afternoon, I walked into one of the dorms to see if I could lend a hand. I ended up folding laundry with Maya, the deaf girl, who usually does that job alone. In the time I was helping her, I made her laugh constantly, and that laughter was focused mostly upon me because of my clumsy and often messy folding. I learned from her that speech and hearing are unnecessary for a person to enjoy life. All that is needed is a little time.
On Wednesday, Mike gave us letters written by our family and members of our parish and community. These letters were written with intentions of us reading them halfway through our trip. It was really touching to read the letters from them. It was also great to see how much we impacted people and how much everyone cared. It was also sad to read these letters because it made me miss my family even more than I already did. I learned from this that when individuals write letters, they expose information that they're incapable of saying face to face. The letter that impacted me the most was from my brother. He said, "Hi, I just wanted to tell you that I really look up to you and I really want to be just like you when I get older." I did not expect that out of my 14-year-old brother. It was something I never knew and it made me feel so great. Overall, this mission has been a great experience and I learned many life lessons from being here. I am honored that I was asked to come on this trip to Jamaica to help those who are much less fortunate than myself, and thank God for all that I am fortunate for at the same time.
On the 6th day of this trip, after much demanding labor, our group was given a day of physical rest. So elbow to elbow, we were on a van on our way to another mustard seed community called Widow's Mite. 3 hours after leaving Blessed Assurance, we reached our destination and were greeted by a young, mentally disabled girl named Shanique. Without hesitation, she grabbed my hand and flashed me a smile that could break a heart. Hugging me, she couldn't wait to give me the full tour. This one moment summed up my experience here, because throughout the week, one thing has remained true. We gave these children more than toys and donations. We gave them someone to talk to, smile at, or just stare at. And I believe that through that one child's hand, I touched her heart forever.
I will never forget my time spent with Donovan during Tuesday's noon devotion. As usual, the prayer service ended with the song, "Thank You, Lord." Donovan, who was on my lap at the time, immediately began to sing and clap to the melody. That particular moment touched me the most because it goes to show that even though these children virtually have no material things, they continue to give thanks to the Lord for what they do have, which is the breath of life. Donovan has taught me to appreciate God's beautiful gift of the right to life and the power to love.
On Wednesday around feeding time, I obviously sat on the chair next to Christopher, like I had been doing. One of the caregivers smiled at me while she gave me Christopher's food because she knows I love him. After I fed him, Anita came up to me and said, "Hey Laura, maybe we can get Christopher to walk." I was so excited. Anita and I then double-checked with Miss Howell, and she said it was okay. So I lifted Christopher out of his stroller, and I gave him to Anita, and she supported him as I knelt in front of him, cheering him on. When he finally met me, I scooped him up and tightly hugged him. I could hear his little heart racing on my shoulder, and the best part was when he looked up at me with his beautiful smile. I think this was the first time he had walked in ages, but most likely this was his first time walking. Anita, Kate, and I have been trying to get him out of his stroller as much as possible. This experience with Christopher definitely was the most rewarding interaction that I've had here at Blessed Assurance. I hope our actions will lead Christopher to a more happy and mobile life.
After months of preparation and planning, the first time I heard our teens sing to the children of Blessed Assurance, I knew the mission was accomplished. To see the faces of our teens meet the faces of the residents with smiles, laughter, and joy, I understood the hand of God at work in our lives. The children of Jamaica and our missionaries, from totally different cultures, backgrounds, economic status, educational abilities, and opportunities, joined simply by their faith and desire to serve.